So anyway, where you want to go get your salt is, I would suggest, a sea salt. A natural sea salt is a great source. Now you got to be a little bit careful on this, just because now everybody's waking up, oh yeah, you need sea salt. I've seen some sea salts that look pretty much like the when it rains it pours. It's super white, it pours easily, they've added anti-caking agents. I wouldn't mess with that stuff. I mean, when I get sea salt, it's really moist, so it is kind of a hassle. It doesn't come out of your salt shaker very easily, but there's a solution to that. Um, and you'll notice sometimes they're not pure white. They're a little bit off white. They might even be a little bit beige. Some are a little bit gray. That's coming from all the other minerals that are in there. Okay, we've been kind of white bread, white rice, white everything, you know, ripping out all the vitamins and minerals of things. It's crazy, and it's led to a lot of disease and pain and suffering, and it's needless. Okay, let's get back to our whole food. So you want to get a whole salt. Celtic sea salt is a wonderful source of sea salt. That one is really loaded with a lot of other minerals. Another one is Himalayan pink salt. So to avoid the sort of obnoxiousness of your salt not coming out of the shaker, you could put some grains of rice. It kind of helps that. Or you could just put it in a pepper shaker, get it, more coarse, and if you get a pretty pink salt, hey, it's kind of chic, yeah. Um, Another source is seaweed. I I consider this salt and then some. Just like I say, Celtic sea salt is going to be a step above a regular sea salt, and maybe another sea salt. Himalayan salt is also wonderful. It's pink, by the way, because of the extra iron in it. Um, but far and above both of those is seaweed. I mean, seaweed is just packed with minerals. I mean, obviously it's plant, right? What do plants do? They just absorb minerals. That's where most of us get any minerals that we do get is from fruits and vegetables. Seaweed is just packed with minerals. And so, I don't know. I work this into my diet. I do a teaspoon, but I would suggest maybe a half a teaspoon for most people of seaweed a day. And then I just use salt as I want, sea salt on whatever I feel like having it on an avocado with some lemon juice. Ooh, delicious. Oh, here's something interesting. The Japanese, just to let you know how suited seaweed is for our bodies, the Japanese can actually do blood transfusions with water and seaweed. They can actually keep a patient alive instead of using somebody else's blood, which I personally don't even believe in doing that, but that causes problems for people, right? You don't know what's in their blood. I wouldn't want to mess with that. But um, 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 um they've they've kept people alive for days on just water and seaweed, so it's perfectly suited. I just showed two products up there. When I'm in Europe I use one, when I'm in America I use the other. So I'm sure there's other products you can use. Let's see here. And I would like to say that we need to look maybe more to the ocean for I don't know, some health cues, let's say. Here's it. I don't know. For me, this is very fascinating. Excuse me. Remember the tsunami? Um, devastating, yes. But here's an interesting thing that was noted after the tsunami. Indonesia, in that area, reported bumper crops. I mean, crops like they had never had before. Disease resistant, greater yield, the whole works, yeah? And so they said, maybe it had something to do with the ocean water coming up onto the land. And a similar thing happened to a pumpkin farmer in Algeria. A soldier noted this story. His well broke, and he had to use ocean water for one watering of his farm. And everybody told him, "You're going to kill your plants. You're going to absolutely devastate your farm with ocean water. Everybody knows salt water kills the soil." Well, he said, "I have no choice. So I've got to do this until my well gets fixed." Well, that year his yield quadrupled by 4 times. I mean, quadrupled by 4. It quadrupled, and he had absolutely no disease problem. whatsoever. And so then, okay, a new paradigm is born. Well, there's a doctor, Dr. Maynard Murray, and back in I don't know, I think in the 1930s, he claimed the same thing. He said, the ocean has all the elements, almost every single element that's on the periodic table, plus all the trace elements. And I remember, my wonderful American education. I asked my husband, I said, yeah, where does the salt come from in the ocean? And he's like, you don't know? And I was like, no, I don't know. How did it get there? And he's like, because when it rains and it washes off, the dirt and the rocks, they break down and it gets in the rivers, and the rivers run down into the ocean. So all the minerals from the rocks end up in the ocean. And I was like, oh, okay. So this Dr. Maynard Murray, he said what we need to do is recycle the ocean, because we lose the minerals out of the topsoil. It ends up down the rivers into the ocean, and we need to put it back onto the topsoil to refeed the soil so that the plants have the proper minerals that they need to be strong, good plants and healthy for us, right? He had a hydroponic farm, a 13-acre hydroponic farm in South Florida, to prove this. And he died, unfortunately, in 1984, believing that no one learned anything from what he was trying to tell the entire world. This is how we can get healthy again, because that's what sparked him. He said, we're living longer, but everybody's getting sick. Why? And then he realized this because there's no minerals in the soil. So then when he said, hydroponic, I mean, there's no as I understand it, there's not even soil in that. He just grew the plants in an ocean sort of water, and these plants just thrived. Totally contradictory to what we always learn. I mean, I know I learned that in school. You can't put salt water on the farm, or else it'll kill the plants. Well, again, how many things are we just completely backwards on? Okay, it's just another great example. Also, just for anybody that's got their own garden or so forth, I'm hoping I'm gonna get there myself. Or if you're an organic farmer. By the way, I got that information from a wonderful website called www.championtrees.org. They've got all kinds of interesting information on how to increase yields, on and health, disease resistant, and so forth. So you could do organic farming. Another interesting thing, they said, the trees in the Black Forest in Germany started dying off. Nobody knew why, and I guess for years and years. And then some sort of storm came along, and it was a dust storm, and it dropped a whole bunch of dust onto the Black Forest, and the trees started to regenerate and come back. Excuse me. And so he's done studies with just plain rock dust on his farm. He just takes a gravel dust from a quarry and spread that over the farm, and the plants just love it. They just eat it up. It's like they're just, they're being fed what they're dying for, the minerals, the little pieces of rock, the rock dust. And by the way, people use seaweed as one of the wonderful ways to recycle the ocean, because it's kind of hard to carry, big ocean water. Seaweed is becoming a very popular fertilizer to put all those minerals back into the earth, so that our fruits and our vegetables can absorb that. Plus, it makes everything taste better. All these chemicals. Give me a break. I mean, anyway, so I just take the seaweed directly in. Why put it into the? I can't afford to buy enough to put out on a huge farm and then eat those vegetables. So I don't know. Anyway, so let's get back to water. 75% of Americans are chronically dehydrated, and chronic dehydration, according to Dr. B, some people call him Dr. Batman, chronic dehydration equals chronic disease. And I think you're going to agree by the end of this. You're going to see exactly why. And I think your mind is going to be blown on some of this stuff, especially on how absolutely backwards the whole medical approach is on this.